In the next 24 hours, something very important is going to happen. And unlike a lot of the rumors I've been seeing over on Twitter, no, it's not a Ripple versus SEC lawsuit settlement or anything in that nature at all. We're actually talking about the FOMC meeting. And now, you might have seen me talk about this more often. You might have seen me talk about it 2 days ago, even when I said something important is happening in 20 or 72 hours or so. The thing is, and you guys got to understand this properly, it's that important. Every single time the FOMC meeting comes along, crypto does some crazy stuff. And so I just want you guys to be prepared. Now, side note, we will be live streaming this tomorrow. And so make sure you tune in and make sure, by the way, that you keep that notification bell on. Because like I said, usually a lot of crazy things happen surrounding this FOMC meeting. In terms of Bitcoin's price, right now you'd think that we're in a little bit of a boring period if you just look at the price. In terms of dominance, we're actually finding something quite interesting. We've gotten ourselves a weekly close, which is the highest in over 721 days. Anyway, like I said, in terms of price, you might say it's boring. Well, I honestly think that by tomorrow, we are probably going to be seeing a pretty significant breakout towards either side. Our bottom would be 27,000 as a start, and obviously going towards the 200 weekly EMA first, which is at roughly 26,000 before our next most important support at 24.5 or so thousand dollars. And the majority of the reason as to why I'm stating that the downside can happen is because of massive amounts of fear. I'm going to be the first to tell you that altcoins right now are in a beautiful position. Elon Musk talked about cult/culture. All of a sudden, an altcoin cult DAO pumped like 70% or so in a split second. Also, like you've probably seen from my previous video, meme coins right now are in such a good position too. And so logically, you'd expect things to continue towards the upside. But as I was trying to say right now, the entire economy is in a pretty weird situation, a pretty weird spot. Janet Yellen warns the U.S. could hit debt default ceiling by June 1st. Investors worry about a crypto meltdown. Well, yeah, she's basically warned the Congress the country might default on its debt as soon as June, which has triggered the fear of a potential crypto meltdown. And why is that? Well, if you guys have not kept yourselves up to date, don't worry about it, because obviously I'll explain to you guys everything. Of course, I always do that. Anyway, the U.S. is facing a banking crisis after 4 major lenders crashed over the past few months. And the scary part about it is, if you take a look over at Twitter, you'll see that things are pretty bad. So Whale Wire just posted just in. Dozens of regional bank stocks are plunging today as the bank crisis continues to gain momentum. PacWest down 36%, Western Alliance down 31%, Metropolitan Bank 27% down, Home Street 23%, Zions Bank 15%, KeyCorp 9%, Hard One -10%, and Citizens Financial -12%. Yeah, generally speaking, things just are not in a really good position. Shares of major U.S. regional banks fell further today in the aftermath of the collapse of the First Republic Bank, the largest U.S. bank failure since the 2008 financial crisis. The entire KBW Regional Banking Index was down 5.2%, hitting its lowest point since December of 2020. Experts warn, if a confidence crisis can happen to First Republic, it can happen to any bank in the country. And analysts from Evercore ISI speculate on the implications of JP Morgan being given the government's first line of defense in the event of such a crisis. The repercussions of our insatiable greed and reckless money printing have led us to a dire state in which we find ourselves yet again. Things could get much worse if the Fed doesn't pivot. And you have to understand, the Fed is going to be speaking tomorrow. They're going to be giving a lot of insights during their FOMC meeting. And yeah, it's a big deal right now, right? The interest rate controls all this. So right now, everybody is eyeing tomorrow's decision. We are expected the increase is going to be 0.25%. The probability of that is 90%, if not more. It could, however, be a different number, but it's almost guaranteed that will be a rate hike, and it's almost guaranteed it's going to be the smallest amount, which is 0.25. As a side note, something pretty interesting happened. Coinbase has officially pivoted. Now, I wanted to make a separate video about this with title and all, but I'm like, you know what? Let's just do one video and explain everything. Today, Coinbase launched Coinbase International Exchange. So they have decided to move, basically. And we'll be begin offering there we go, Bitcoin and Ethereum perpetual futures settled in USDC with up to 5x leverage to institutional clients in eligible jurisdictions outside of the US. As a global company, we're working hard to help update the financial system by building trusted products that expand the utility and adoption of crypto, because we believe crypto and blockchain tech have the ability to increase economic freedom and opportunity around the world. We've covered it many times, but the US is lacking, which led Coinbase now to, move abroad a little bit. At the same time, however, apparently the Kingdom of Bhutan confirms it's been mining Bitcoin for several years. I wish more countries took example of that and followed suit, because it'd be better for them, but it also showcases, don't trust exactly what they say, but what they do. A lot of these countries might say in your face they're not really fans of crypto, but in the back end might actually be mining it. Oh yeah, like I said, there was also some speculation of a Ripple settlement meeting of sorts. Jeremy says, my wife, moms, and children are all having a secret meeting next week wherein they will discuss how I can do absolutely anything I want. Let's see if this works. And that's because a lot of people are taking this very serious. Ripple SEC meeting that could change everything. Will it actually happen? Yeah, so everybody's referring to the fact that people have been stating that May 8th is going to have some crazy date where settlement is going to be discussed, etc., etc. Eleanor Tourette from Fox said it doesn't really make sense. John Deaton said it doesn't really make sense, because why would they set a undisclosed date like that? I mean, they could have this discussion any day they'd want. It would be kind of weird to have a very specific date set like that that's also unknown, etc. It's a little bit weird. What might be important to note, though, is this. Apparently, the XRP-friendly lawyer John Deaton says Ripple may consider some new settlement terms. And he basically said this because people were going crazy over all this speculation of a settlement in the background. And the lawyer also mentioned a hypothetical situation in which the SEC would agree not to appeal. Now, you know what? Let's take it a step back. Key considerations include whether major crypto exchanges like Coinbase and Kraken would immediately relist XRP or wait for a possible appeal by the SEC, and whether Ripple's partner Bank of America would feel comfortable with the decision or wait to see if Judge Torres's ruling gets overturned in the event of an SEC appeal. What that refers to the fact that even if you lose the lawsuit or win, whatever, you can always go a court higher. So in this case here, let's say Ripple wins. Boom, XRP is a non-security. The SEC probably wants to appeal that and say, hey, we don't agree with you, Judge. We don't think you did a good job. Let's take this to a court that's a little step above you, all right? But the same thing goes for in case Ripple loses. They'll probably take it a step higher. Now, he's talking about the fact that all these considerations might make a play in the discussions for some sort of settlement. He emphasized that the SEC could file a notice of appeal and withdraw it later, leaving room for further negotiation. The XRP friend, this is again with the idea in mind that Ripple will probably just win outright. He emphasized that they could do that. The XRP-friendly lawyer also mentioned a hypothetical situation in which the SEC would agree not to appeal if Ripple paid a $50 million settlement and received assurance that future sales of XRP would not be considered securities. That's because Ripple's got fat dough and they rather, pay $50 million, see it as marketing budget to then not have any troubles anymore. And in this case, he believes that Ripple CEO would be quick to sign off on the settlement, as it would provide certainty and immediate return of liquidity in the U.S. market. However, if the judge decision is in Ripple's favor and restores liquidity to U.S. markets without causing businesses to worry about the SEC's repercussions, Ripple may be forced or more inclined to forgo a settlement. Ripple's strategic response to potential outcomes will undoubtedly impact the future of XRP and its relationship with U.S. regulators. Meanwhile, the crypto community remains vigilant as it follows developments in the SEC-Ripple legal battle. And now I gotta quickly say thank you for the sponsor of this video, Ecoterra. Ecoterra is a blockchain ecosystem for user rewards and company action on climate change. Now, that might sound kinda plain, but it's actually pretty cool. Because basically what these guys, this is the team right here, came up with is to step up circular economy processes by providing a recycled material marketplace where they basically incentivize people to recycle more. And so you've probably heard of the move to earns, walk to earns, whatever. And so the way I get it is that it's a recycle to earn. Apparently, if you recycle through a reverse vending machine, you can get yourself some of these Ecoterra tokens. So how it works is you simply scan your product's barcode, locate a store with an RVM, which again is one of these vending machines, and begin recycling your items. And after then scanning your receipt, you will get a certain number of Ecoterra tokens. And obviously it has a couple of different parts. One is mostly from the business side, where they obviously get some credits for being more eco-friendly, as you guys can obviously guess. And obviously the other side is for the consumer, as they basically get rewarded for being more eco-friendly. Again, their mission is quite interesting. I want to say cool, but I also want to call it ambitious, because apparently, like I said at the start here, they're going for a recycled materials marketplace. And honestly, I've never really thought of it before, but I'm guessing this is mostly going to be bigger companies selling to one another. But at the end of the day, I'm just keeping it open to my imagination, or I guess the imagination of the guys over at Ecoterra, because it's very interesting, but I really have no idea how that would play out. If we're meant to just sell our clothes that we don't want anymore, if it's mostly a P2P type of thing, or if it's mostly meant for businesses to other businesses, but I'm going to be interested to find out. And again, they're also doing a couple of cool things with actually making all this available on your profile, so others can kind of check you out. And that might incentivize people to even be better at the recycling thing, because again, it's locked on your profile. So that's a pretty good idea if you ask me. For the most part though, what I've read from their white paper is that it's mostly the recycling companies with businesses to potentially get them a juicier deal, or I guess a more eco-friendly deal. And apparently some of the benefits of their token are that it can be used on their educational platform as that rolls out, the ability to, or possibility to, buy carbon credits with which you can support the environmental projects closest to heart, and of course can be staked to also get some sort of yield. And I guess the more of the token, also the more you increase your score, which might result in you getting some NFT prices if I read this correctly. And anyway, like I said at the start, this is a sponsored segment, so make sure you always do your own due diligence. But if you wanted to buy, it is right here over on the Ecoterra.io homepage. Because yes, right now they have got a pre-sale going on, which is going to last another 5 days or so. They've already raised about 2.8 million of the 3.15 million they were trying to raise. It also says here the listing price is going to be 1 cent. And right now you can actually buy some Ecoterra for 0.007, which potentially could be an instant 50% gain as it lists. But yeah, I don't think I need to explain too much as to how to buy, as it's obviously just 1 or 2 clicks. It's just either Ethereum, either USDT, or with some sort of card. You can see over on the top left, they've been audited by CertiK, so at least we know the people are real as they've been KYC'd. But like I said, always do your due diligence. Thank you, Ecoterra, for sponsoring this video.